boys and girls, this is Mrs. Romine. We just recently had Earth Day, and a lot of you are learning about plants and flowers, and I wanted to share this book with you. It's a first discovery book about flowers. We have some clear transparency pages, so those are kind of cool to see what's on the other side. The crocus blooms when spring appears. The orange pistil is hidden inside the flower. There you can see it. These are called the stamens. The stamens have pollen in them. Pollen is a yellow, powdery substance. A lot of times it'll look kind of a yellowish green if you see it like on your car, on windows and surfaces outside. Many flowers smell nice and have pretty colors. They attract insects. The insects like to eat the nectar or the pollen. Pollen gets on the insect's legs. Then the insect carries the pollen to the pistil of the next flower. Let's see what's behind this clear page here. Oh, look, there's a bee that was behind the butterfly. So the pollen gets on their legs and they carry it to another flower, and that's the process of pollination. Without pollination, we wouldn't have plants that grow, food that grows. We need the pollen to be transferred from plant to plant. All flowers make seeds so that new plants can grow. The dandelion starts as a bud, then it becomes a flower. An insect leaves some pollen on its pistils. Okay, so an insect will bring pollen from another flower to this one, helps it to grow, and the petals dry up, and inside it's forming these seeds. When the seeds are ready, then they fly away in the wind. Sometimes people supply the wind, and they'll pick the dandelion seeds and blow them and cause them to fly away in the air. You may have done that before yourself. This is a strawberry plant. Its green buds open up into little flowers. The fruit grows inside the center of the flowers. Looks like a yellow center, but it's actually the strawberry. Soon the petals fall off and you see the ripe, yummy strawberries. All fruits come from a flower. The fruits contain the seeds. This is an apple. That's the flower from an apple tree. It's an eggplant. The flower on the eggplant is purple. Here we have green beans. We call all of these vegetables, but they are also called fruits because they have seeds in them. So they're not really sweet, these two. Now that is sweet. But technically, eggplants and green beans are also fruits because they have seeds. Sometimes you can use parts of certain flowers to make foods, spices, and teas. Saffron is the dried end of the crocus pistil. It is a spice often used in rice. The clove is the dried flower bud of a clove plant, and it's used in baking. The artichoke is the bud of a plant with purple flowers. Here's what it looks like when it blooms. Chamomile and lime, the blossoms are used to make a tea. And Miss Saxton said that she likes to cook with this last one. I don't particularly like the taste of them, but some people do. These are called capers. And you see those little buds there? Capers are flower buds. They are used in soups and sauces. So they're picked while they're still a bud before they bloom out and eaten. It's from the caper plant. Okay, we have sage. That's the bloom of a sage plant. An orchid. Jonquil. We call these daffodils most of the time. Foxglove, violet, clover. I'm going to come back and talk about that one in a minute. Bluebell and iris. My mother has a big patch of purple irises. They grow about 24 to 36 inches tall. They're really tall. It says here are some well-known flowers. Look closely at the shape of their petals and their colors. And there's just a huge variety of colors. Lots of pinks and purples. The green on the orchid is unusual. Yellow on the daffodils. The clover, think about if you've ever walked around in the grass and you found a 4-leaf clover or a 3-leaf clover. Those green petals, those are actually the leaves. And this is the flower. So if somebody does not mow the grass for a while, it would have time to be able to have its flowers. And they're little teeny tiny petals on there. They're not very big because it just grows on the clover plant. Sometimes they look more white than this picture shows, but they're that white to pinkish color. Sunflowers are very big plants that grow in very big fields. Sunflower seeds are ground up to make cooking oil. Okay? They're also grown for their seeds. The seeds right here have a little coat on them. Sometimes you can buy them with the shell still on, or you can buy them already shelled out. They're a very nutritious snack. Some people like to plant sunflowers in their own yard. The sunflowers and lots of other flowers do this. The sunflower gets its name from the way the blossoms turn to follow the movement of the sun. Did you see that? They're turned this way right now. And then as the sun moves back behind them, their heads actually turn to face the sun. Lots of plants do that. They seek out the sunlight and they'll grow toward the sun. The flowers in a flower shop are grown by scientists called horticulturists. So if you would like to be a scientist and go to college and learn about plants, that might be an area that you would want to study and learn how to be a horticulturist. In the countryside, you may see some of the same flowers growing wild, like a pansy, dianthus, hawthorn, daisy, or tiger lily. Now, some flowers that you see outside in the wild, you should never, ever pick. And we're going to talk about that at the very end. Now, you might find a favorite flower, like this one was my favorite flower when I was a kid growing up. These are buttercups. And the flower itself is only about the size of a dime. They're little teeny tiny flowers, and they grow in your grass. And the petals were like very shiny and smooth, and I like to rub them between my fingers. It was just really cool. But this says this is a good idea that you could press and dry flowers between the pages of a journal or an old book, a telephone book, and then lay another heavy book on top of it. And then once they're nice and dry, you can actually glue them onto a sheet of paper. And that's a way to save some old flowers is by pressing them. Now watch carefully. Look, there's a ladybug in the field with the buttercups. Now these are the kind of flowers that you definitely would not want to pick. Edelweiss and bright blue gentians are wild mountain flowers. They are very rare and you must never ever pick them. So if you go out on a nature walk in the woods or up in the mountains and you see flowers blooming, you should leave them alone because they're very rare. And so we want to keep those out in nature for everyone to enjoy. And this says everyone loves a beautiful bouquet of flowers. We have some tulips here. And you might want to buy your mom or your grandma some flowers or ask permission from somebody to pick some flowers. Flowers are always a good way of saying I love you. So I hope you're having fun this spring, maybe planting some flowers in your own yard. Anytime you're out, just look for a pretty flower and it'll make you smile. Thank you for reading with me. Bye.